Welcome into Rover Sports. We're here on a fine Tuesday night, a windy Tuesday night, on a perch. It is 40-mile-an-hour winds wreaking havoc with the Philadelphia Phillies and the San Francisco team. And this next iteration of Rover Sports deals with a tradition like no other, and that is the Masters Tournament, where Rory McIlroy underwent so many twists and turns and almost got taken by Justin Rose, and finally, in overtime, in extra innings, actually won the fourth leg of the Grand Slam. It was tremendous drama. DeChambeau started off like the horse running, but then he fell back, and McIlroy looked like he was winning and then dumped the ball in the water on 13 and missed putts that were literally hanging on the edge by millimeters and just got knocked out so many times. And so it was very exciting. Spencer Grosinger,
Yes.
You are in. What did you see at the Masters?
Just unbelievable drama. I mean, because McIlroy, he could have let go of the tournament. When he doubled the first hole and then recovered. He doubled 13 and bogeyed 14, and then hit a ridiculous shot from the tree to within or on 15 he hit a ridiculous shot to within 7 feet for an eagle try, and then on 17, Bruce looked like he clinched the golf tournament again with just brilliant iron play, and that's what Rory was at the Masters this week. He had the most talent. He would hit the most brilliant of shots. He's 35 years old in his prime, but he still had trouble closing it out. His putter didn't work at all on the back nine. He's very tentative when he putts. He always putts with, he always tries to drip the ball into the hole, and he's not really decisive. And a lot of guys fell off around him. Patrick Reed played pretty well. Oberg for a stretch. Justin Rose closed brilliantly, but Justin was in the house. And then DeChambeau, when McIlroy was on a heater, which I think he birdied 9 and 10, because McIlroy's highs were ridiculous. Bryson DeChambeau on 11 thought, I got to force the issue. He did not see Rory's collapse occurring.
He dumped in the water twice.
Dumped it in the water twice and didn't play his best round. And Bryson honestly hasn't had the scar of leading a tournament this late. This was kind of his first scar of his career. But it was really exciting. Listen, a lot of people here are big Rory guys. You like Rory McIlroy. A lot of people are diehard Rory people. And if you're not, then I think that people are just kind of glad he won it. I think the majority of people wanted him to win it. And Charlie was right in getting Rory McIlroy. It was his time. And Charlie said that at the beginning of the week. And Charlie, what did you make of Sunday and that tournament?
I went through a different kind of emotion here because, as I said, when I bet it, and when I saw the odds, I usually wouldn't bet a guy with 6.5 to 1 in a golf tournament, but I just felt it was his time. I said I can't leave him out of this. I think he's going to win the tournament. I'd be stupid to let my personal feelings get involved. Then all of a sudden, I became a Rory fan during the tournament. Then afterwards, when I hear that he didn't speak to Bryson DeChambeau during that tournament, just shows what an arrogant. You know what he is. And now I hate him 10 times more.
Respecting.
Now I hate him.
That's right. I hated when I heard that. That was the worst.
I hate him 10 times more than I ever did now. I hope he never wins another golf tournament. What a disrespectful guy all over this LIV PGA stuff. I mean, you could have made it fun, a final tournament, and then he had to make it personal. And to me, I hope the guy never wins another golf. I'm glad I won money on him. I probably bet him again if I thought he was going to win.
But that's
Fine.
very interesting. That's a point I really took note of, in that DeChambeau wasn't the first thing out of his mouth, but he had to say, you know what, it's very extreme. Now, I remember two great players who were exactly like that. And one guy was Nick Faldo. Nick Faldo wouldn't say a word to his playing partner. When he played Greg Norman, he just didn't say a word. Mm-hmm. And I had met Faldo when I was training many years ago back in Orlando, Florida. I actually was at Ledbetter Teaching Academy, and I met Nick, and he was a nice guy. But apparently, during the rounds, he didn't say a word. Another guy who rarely said anything to his playing partners, is no less than Tiger Woods. So Tiger also would just be like a horse with blinders. But the fact is, I bet DeChambeau's a very engaging guy. And if you're playing, even if you're playing competitive round, you're walking with the guy for miles. You could at least make some small talk. Don't you think, Charlie?
If you want to be a tough guy, join the military. Roy, you're not a tough guy. They're both, and here's the thing, they're both worth $100 million plus. There's no pressure. They're out there having fun. They're out there putting a show on. So for him to do that, to me, was just, I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I almost thought it was a fake.
Funny, I reacted the same way. Like, I took that, like, I was listening to DeChambeau, and you know what? It almost has to be true. I don't think that, and for McIlroy, just to take it so personally with the Live PGA thing, to not be able to be a gentleman. I think not only being a gentleman is shaking hands, but just being a gentleman during the round of golf.
I think I have issue with McIlroy more because he's the golden boy of CBS and the media coverage. And like, you know, how they all said, oh, McIlroy's putting for the career Grand Slam. And he could have maybe said to Bryson before the round, hey, I really need to focus. And it's kind of out of character because I think Rory McIlroy, if he was playing Charlie with Shane Lowry, he's not really that tough guy. He's not really that Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods-like guy. And that's maybe why, Charlie, you're maybe so irritated, is because he's not like this Tiger Woods, like, I don't know. There might be some guys, Charlie, where they're so intimidating like Tiger or like Kobe Bryant that I might actually like that they're down the business. But yeah, I mean, you could exchange some pleasantries. Now, Charlie, I'm not a Rory guy. You know that from talking to me. But is it possible maybe Bryson's trying to hum up this rivalry? Or how would you compare, I guess, Tiger Woods not speaking or Kobe Bryant? And do you think maybe Bryson's just trying to, like, get at his rival? That's all I got to say to you.
Yeah, Charlie, what do you think about that?
It's one thing to be that way all the time like Woods was, but Rory McIlroy's not that way. Mm-hmm. He just, again, he's always been, you know, you see him the way he interacts with Lowry, like you said, on the course. And also, let's face it, the second biggest story of the tournament was his mistress interviewing him. So he's not this squeaky clean poster boy that CBS makes him out to be. He's actually had his wife there, which was so embarrassing. I felt so bad for his wife that his mistress is interviewing him during the tournament.
And how about when he misses the putt and goes to the playoff and he like cries and holds his daughter in his arm? I mean, maybe I'm just piling on because he's the poster boy against Liv, but how about that? Like, didn't it seem so dramatical, like when he missed the putt and he's holding his kid up there, Charlie?
Yeah,
There's another thing I would say, Charlie. Let me just jump in let me jump in, Spence. So on one hand, I have respect for him. He did undergo tremendous scar tissue during the round, and he could have quit many different times. He missed a lot of putts. So from a golf standpoint, I have total respect for him. He is one of, certainly one of the best players in the world. I like watching him on YouTube, but goes to Charlie's point. You see him with Scottie Scheffler and Tiger Woods. He's a totally normal guy, very conversational. When he's doing things for TaylorMade on YouTube, he's not a quiet guy at all. No. He's not an introvert. No. But yet the fact that he can play 18 holes with a rival and not even just to have banter. Another thing I didn't really like, Charlie, and I'll tell you this. When I listen to the post-game interviews, I know this is an individual sport, but every question, when I hear everybody, I. So when I listen to McIlroy, he didn't give credit to Bob Rotella. He didn't give credit to Brad Faxon. He didn't, only a little bit he talked about going to Northern Ireland to sing his parents. But a lot of these guys, they talk about their team. And you hear Tiger Woods, even now that he's way over the hill and almost in retirement, they talk about their team. They talk about their other players. They put in perspective of their country or Northern Ireland. But this guy, to me, McIlroy, every answer is an I. Did you notice that also, Charlie?
Yeah, well, I also think you guys just bring up a good point because you know the game better than most. You know that golf is not it's an individual sport, but it's also very much a team sport. These guys sometimes when they change coaches, like you said, facts, and like things change in their careers, and they actually end up winning a lot more because they have the right team behind them. I think a lot of people just think golfers just go tee it up and play. But that's not true, and you guys know that better than anyone. Like there's a whole thing involved. They have strength coach, they have conditioning coach, they have swing coach, they have putting coach. They have, and you're right. If you watch his interviews post the win, I don't think and I saw that when he
didn't give credit to any of his coaches at all. No credit. It was all about him. It was just about him going back in time and just talking about the years from 2000. It's just all about me.
Well,
and I don't really like that.
Well, I don't know if it's funny the way that this show's going. Sometimes you can't predict where this show's going to go. Honestly, like if I'm going to tear back the curtain, is that Bruce, like you were really happy when McIlroy won.
Yeah,
and I think you like McIlroy.
And I do like Rory.
And maybe ironically,
and I watch his YouTube. I learn a lot from the guy.
Ironically, I'll defend him because he was talking about his shots. A lot of times his PR, like I think it's frustrating, like the media coverage of McIlroy, and he was kind of describing the shots, and I was very anti-McIlroy, and I think, Charlie, it's like all the fans there wanted him to win, and I think the Rory fans are kind of like these popular, like maybe LeBron James fans where it's like, why don't you like McIlroy? Why don't you like him? And for me, it's kind of because of the LIV thing and because he was really he turned off all of his friends who went to LIV, like even Haddon and all these guys. And I just think the media around McIlroy is so Rory central, like that I liked some of the other guys like Justin Rose. There were a lot, even Patrick Reed, Bruce, they didn't show Reed at all on the telecast. And I thought that was dirty by CBS. Really nasty. How this guy's competing, he's 2 shots off the lead.
And he boxes a shot. He hits a shot.
He's wearing
right
a black shirt. He's a black sheep, and it's so corporatized.
Well,
and with McIlroy,
they didn't mention one word about it. If it was one of the PGA players, like Spieth, anybody like that,
I think that
if you box a shot, they would have shown that a million times. But
I don't
they
think
didn't.
that Rory's...
And that's part of the coverage now. So let me say this.
I don't think he's an awful guy. We might have been piling on him too much.
I'm not going to pile on.
You're definitely more pro-Rory than me. So.
I do like Rory. Now, why do I like him? Firstly, I have a ton of respect for him. We're the same height. We're both 5'9", and so I tend to root for people who are a little bit older, maybe a little shorter. So his swing is unbelievable, given his size, the fact he can hit as far as he does, and also his iron play. And I learn a lot from him. I've watched a lot of YouTube, and I don't dislike the guy. Yeah. I mean, he's got a daughter. I mean, I like that story.
Decent. Same caddy for a while.
The fact that he had to have his mistress interview him,
he's a decent guy.
But so the fact is, I was oscillating. I love DeChambeau. I just think he's a very personable guy. And he's also had a big comeback after a fall from grace. So I tend to root for guys like that. Justin Rose is 44 years old. I liked the storyline of Justin being the second oldest person, second to Jack at 46, to win the tournament. And if you watch Rose's interviews, he's an incredibly endearing person. He's the nicest guy. Everybody loves Justin Rose. There's nobody he doesn't. And to see that he would just completely destroyed himself, when he shot to 75, it basically shot himself out of the tournament and was able to build himself back up. It had that birdie streak and made it. And you talk about putting, like you were talking about Rory McIlroy, very tentative putting, but you saw the way he putted on the 18th hole. That was an incredible putt. If that missed a hole, that would have gone 10 feet past, but he was going to win that. And that seemed magic to me. That putt, that birdie to go to the playoff, that was a Masters moment.
Well, that was, for Justin, that was the biggest moment, Charlie. But honestly, Charlie, I'll ask you this question: like, what did you think about the Masters field? What do you think about Ludwig Aberg? And then I'll even ask you, what do you think about like guys like Jon Rahm? And it just seems like at the top, it does seem like McIlroy is the guy right now. What do you think about the other competitors like Scheffler and the other big names? I'll ask you that.
I think Aberg is going to win multiple Masters by time. He is so skilled. I think he came in second last year in his first Masters. He was right there again this year. Scheffler's still the best player in the world. Like, I don't know how the rankings came out, but again, I just think Scheffler's been injured ever since that incident with the police last year. It seems like he's been a little bit off. I don't think one really has anything to do with the other, but maybe just a combination of injuries.
Yeah, it's funny how Scheffler, Charlie, it's funny how we expect so much from Scotty. Like, Scotty could win a tournament if his driving and putting are on, much like Tiger Woods, nobody's touching him. And the fact that he was not Scheffler-like, but yet still hung on, he's such a good player. I also think Scheffler is a very even-keeled, nice, very philosophic, spiritual guy. He's the exact opposite. Again, I could call – so the things I didn't like about Rory, I didn't like him ignoring DeChambeau, and I didn't like the III. But I do like Rory more than you do, Spence.
Yeah, you do.
But I love Bryson because we met him. I mean, we've met Bryson before. He was very nice to us. I have to admit, like reporters sometimes, you shouldn't like a guy, but when he's nice to you, it's hard to ignore that.
Yeah, I really do, Bruce. Like, I really want the live in the PGA. Like, we've talked about this resolution. I want these guys to start coming together and playing. And even though, like, I fully support the Live Tour, and, like, I went to the Live Tour, I went to those tournaments, it's a fun thing to go to. I can admit, like, these guys get paid, and the hunger looks lost a little bit. Like Cam Smith, Joaquin Niemann. Really, you look at a guy like Brooks Koepka, who didn't care a lot about the PGA tournament when it was there. I fear, Bruce, that guys like Koepka, they get paid. Dustin Johnson. I fear that these live guys are going to fall off, and it might give credence to the argument that the PGA guys might just care more about the sport. I'll ask you that. What do you think about the live guys falling off?
So here's the thing with the live guys.
Yeah.
They don't have to make a cut. They only play 3 rounds. There's less pressure. It's more relaxed. They're all making a ton of money to start. And I think when you have to go from that atmosphere to playing in a pressure cooker, especially in the Masters, the way they had those greens on the 4th round was just sick. Like even DeChambeau said, when he hit a putt 9 feet past the hole, he has no idea how they could get groomed. You know, obviously with the grain and everything, they could play tricks on these. They could get them so fast. And so are the PJ guys a little more tournament tough? Obviously, Scheffler is seemingly always there. Rory has been there. And there are a lot of guys on the PJ Tour who are right up near the top. But yet, Patrick Reed did come back. When he boxed that shot, he wasn't planning on that. That kind of propelled him up the leaderboard. But again, Aberg, very likable guy. Let's talk about him. Yeah. Extremely likable, humble guy. This guy grew up in Sweden where he's literally hitting the ball off of ice and snow. So that's really an interesting story. And I think as he goes on, people are going to learn more about his story. And he, again, hit a point where he just hit a wall in that last round and he just fell off. And that could happen.
Charlie, I think that Ludwig Åberg, like, I think it's exciting when you kind of, like, discover a player. And I think that Rory McIlroy is kind of like that band that, like, everybody discovers, you know? And as a fan, you kind of want to be, like, the first one to kind of discover, right? And Rory McIlroy was this prodigy where, like, Ludwig Åberg is maybe a lot more likable because he's kind of just quietly coming onto the scene from Texas Tech. I mean, what do you think about those two guys?
Well, the thing about Åberg is he's been so consistent since he came onto the tour. I mean, the guy's always seems to be in the top 15 or better in every tournament he plays. And the one thing about, like you said, live in PGA, if Jon Rahm being ranked the 80th golfer in the world didn't motivate him this weekend, nothing's going. You're exactly right. These guys, Koepka, Rahm, for every like Patrick Reed, which no one knew how he was playing, because you said he wasn't covered, just like DeChambeau wasn't even any of the feature groups on ESPN on Friday, which was a disgrace. These guys, it seems like Rahm and Koepka especially are just, again, we didn't see them play, they didn't really cover them. I think they showed one shot of Jon Rahm, that's all. But how can Jon Rahm come in here and not want to prove something, knowing that he's now the 80th? He's definitely, there's not 79 better golfers than Jon Rahm in the world, no way. But how did he not come in wanting to prove something?
My name is Dr. Bruce Grossinger. I'm reaching out to those who suffer from spine and joint pain. We use treatment methods that require no surgery, no scalpel, no drugs.
Running, walking, or whatever your desires are, Dr. Grossinger is where you need to come.
You can benefit from the same PRP and stem cell treatment as Wilbert Montgomery. Call us now at 610-222-5675. That's 610-222-5675.